Hey, what's going on there? Dr. Jason with Elite Health. I want to talk to you today about an extremely important foundational thing in health that is so overlooked out there. Even some of your top orthopedic doctors, PTs, trainers that are still overlooking this, man. I'm still holding out hope that we get this thing figured out in medicine, because I've seen it change lives like crazy. I've seen it just really completely change someone's life. And this has to do with chronic pain, okay? But it's your footwear. We've got to get better about counseling people on footwear, no matter what your pain is. I don't care where it is. Whatever touches the ground, whatever you stand on the ground with, just like your tires on a car, you've got to think about those mechanics. Because if you're not in the right footwear and distributing the forces correctly, if your foot bones aren't being lined up, if the muscles aren't activating, if you've got tight ankles due to all these problems, guess what? That force has to go somewhere. It's going to go up the chain. We've got knees, hips, back, even up into the neck, believe it or not. Yes, your foot can affect every joint and every contraction in your body. So let's look at a couple things that we want to educate you on. One is going to be the footwear. I'm not talking about cheap footwear, okay? I just mean inappropriate design. You can have very expensive, $200+ pair of shoes. Doesn't mean it's designed for your foot. So people make the mistake of saying, well, I got these, super high quality recommended by so-and-so. Well, it doesn't mean they're designed for your foot, and hate to break it to you. So what we're looking for, okay, is going to be a foot shape design. I'm just going to set this down for a kick. So foot shape design, okay, means that our metatarsal bones are allowed to spread out. That's your middle foot bones, and your toes can splay out. It's called wide toe box. We've got to have a shoe with a wide toe box. And your foot is similar to this shape. It kind of has a sweeping kind of like shape there that's more, rounded, right? And then down to my heel, creates more of like a triangle shape. And what most people's foot shape is, if you take your shoes off and look at it, it's going to be rectangular, right? And why? Because your feet have been squeezed almost your whole life. They've adapted to this really cruddy position, and you're going to have very little dexterity, very little toe splay with it. Should be very similar to your hand, okay? Another thing you got to look for is the cushioning, called the stack of a shoe. It needs to be zero drop, really important. So even if it's thicker or thinner, whatever, I don't really agree with minimalist footwear at first, but let's say, 25 millimeter stack, which is about an inch. We should have the same amount of cushion at the forefoot as we do at the heel. I know my hand doesn't do a good job, but you get the idea. In most shoes, we've got a huge cushion at the heel, and it's above the forefoot, and then we have this wedge shape going downward, usually between 8 and 12 millimeters, which is way too much, okay? And that's called a heel drop. So most athletic shoes and most, casual shoes, almost all shoes, if you look at it, have your heel up in the air. That, again, not good for your foot. That extra angle there puts a lot of pressure on these bones of the foot, and it screws them up. They sublux, they move out of position. The muscles aren't firing. You're putting a lot of stress on your plantar fascial ligament. If you're watching this and have plantar fasciitis, hello, pay attention, all right? Bunions also. A bunion is literally, if this is your great toe, your big toe, it's been squeezed, again, for years and years and years, so much, and also this muscle, this hallucis muscle that flexes it, is like pretty much dead. It's like this, pushed over. That's usually not genetic, guys. I know maybe you've been to podiatrists or other docs that mention that to you. Sorry to disagree with that, but it's usually not genetic. You can have some predisposition, of course we all do, but there's a lot you can do to get that footwork and that toe back out there, okay? So remember that. We've got to have wide toe box footwear, allow our foot to spread out at the forefoot. You should not see a foot or a shoe that goes up into a point. It should be rounded, and we need to have zero drop. Super, super important. Those two elements are the most important. My favorite brand for this is Altra. It is more of an athletic shoe though. We'll talk about casual in a second, but Altra does an amazing job. The Provision is for those that kind of overpronate like I do. That's going to give you more stability. Taurin is more for neutral. If your foot just kind of stays pretty flat, you can test yourself by just taking your shoes off, pop one leg in the air, kind of hover, and see what your foot does. Okay, it may be shaky, but if it really rolls in, you're an overpronator. If it stays pretty much flat, you're neutral. So again, Provision for an overpronator, Taurin for someone who would be more neutral. And then we've got a Flux. Flux is kind of a newer brand. It's been out a little while now, at least more mainstream. I'm really liking what they're doing. Check out some of those shoes. Are definitely more like, Ultra is a little bit more straight ahead running. Flux is a little bit more cross training and lifting, but you can certainly wear them casual if you'd like. Another big breakthrough I found, because I really like to wear professional shoes at work there, not tennis shoes at work. So Birkenstock saved me, man. I was searching for months, I kid you not, for a wide toe box, zero drop, dress casual shoe, and Birkenstock saved the day. Plus they've been around like what, 200 some years, German company. So check them out. We all know probably about the sandals that they make, and those are okay. They work great. Their professional shoes are really cool. You'll find them on their website. I don't know too many stores that are carrying those just yet. And also, if you're just knocking around, if you're at the beach, if you're just out doing yard work, if you're in the house, right? If you just don't really care so much about fashion, unless you love these, then that's Crocs. Crocs often get a rap that they're kind of on the ugly side, but they are unbelievable for the foot. Unreal. Whoever designed those, kudos, Kudos to you, man. They've got a wide toe box because you have that big rounded kind of nose on them. And if you look, they're pretty much close to zero drop. Plus they tend to have some arch support in there. So big fan of Crocs. So let's relook at our footwear, especially those of you in chronic pain. Let's look at our footwear and really give that some thought and see what we can do to get better from the ground up. Talk soon. Bye-bye.